Hey, everybody. We want to welcome you to our first and the start of a new podcast called Printer in the Suit. I think it's obvious. I'm the printer.
I'm the suit.
There you go. And the real reason for this podcast is, I was always a buyer of equipment. Kevin was always a seller of equipment. He has his way of how he sees things. I, as the printer, have my way of how we see things. I speak on behalf of the printers, by the way. And in our conversations and everything, we just want to find a way to bridge the gap so that everybody understands. From where I come from, the printer, when we buy something, we're on the hook. So we got to have the best relationship. Unfortunately, the people we deal with move around, so we don't always know who the relationship is. And that's just one little idea, but it's a heavy for me that I want to talk about later. Kevin, give me one heavy for you, just so we give them an idea.
Well, I think it's important that people who are out there selling equipment, whether they've been doing it for a really long time, they're new to it, they're still finding their footing. It's important to understand how printers perceive them. And I think one of the big things is, I sold machines for 20 years with MGI, and I would go into a print shop, I'd visit people, I would tell my story, I would do my spiel, I'd walk out saying, oh, I nailed it. And then I was surprised when they didn't buy. And then now that I'm on outside selling equipment and I'm working more with printers on the consulting side, I'm understanding more clearly what really happened during those meetings with retrospect. So I think this is going to be really helpful to get an understanding of what happens after you leave, what's going through printers' minds when you're giving your spiel, when you're trying to sell them a piece of equipment, and when you're trying to give them some strategy tips on how to be successful with that equipment. So that's really what I think is going to be important. And I think from printer standpoint to understand, okay, this is these guys make machines. And I mean, you could probably tell me, how did we meet? Do you remember how we met, Warren?
Well, originally we met, it was just through MGI because you, the manufacturer in the suit, the company tried to sell me an MGI machine.
Right.
And really, what the fuck were you thinking? Build it and they will come? We don't build and they come. We need a little bit more concrete stuff, right? So whoever at your company was thinking that, it wasn't you, but whoever was thinking that, talking to me, did not stand a chance.
Right. So I think that's important too, is that, as an OEM, as manufacturers, as salespeople, you get judged on how successful you are in terms of selling equipment. That's the only thing that judges you. And you have different types of salespeople who are out there, and I'm sure that you've probably experienced it. You have the killers who can go in there and absolutely just high performers every single time. And what they have in common, that I've seen all the different killers who are out there, is that they have maintained relationships with the printers over a very long period of time. It's not just a one and done. Because the killers understand the needs, I think, of printers better, the particular needs of every individual printers, and is able to tailor what they're offering to that printer without trying to go for the whale kill every single time. I mean, you've bought a lot of equipment, right? What are some of those relationships like that you've been with? Do you have any particular salespeople who stand out in your mind?
Well, I personally always try to have that friendly relationship where it's a level above just the business, right? I want to know whose kids are who and who's who, because then it just makes it a little tighter. And if you know what's going on with each other, you're working a little harder to make it right. Right. I just always wanted to feel dealing with the company. It's not even the salespeople, right? Remember, the salespeople are built by the company. And it's the company behind them and how they think too, and their attitude. But I always wanted to be in relationships where I felt that people were not shoving something down my throat or trying to sell it.
Sure.
Because at the end of the day, I recognize that the OEMs are there to sell equipment.
Right.
And that's okay. And that's what they should do. And
that's their job.
We're there to sell our print and our services. But, when we sell to our customers, we don't have contracts where we get to lock them up and it's for life. When we're buying equipment, it feels like it's for life, right? And then once you're in, you can't get out, only because the contracts and the lawyers from the vendors are so big.
Sure.
So I would like to see as we go along, and by the way, when we have our show, we're going to have vendors on. We're going to have printers on. We're going to have anybody who wants to be on. Just reach out to us, by the way. That's what we want to do. This is open mic. You don't get to sing, but we want to have as many people on as we can. And we really just want to make it so that everybody has a better understanding of how to talk to each side to get what they want in a great relationship, right? Because that's what it is. And as the industry, I think, shrinks a little all around, printers are shrinking, and so vendors are coming together or disappearing or whatever. Everyone needs to be a little tighter and more comfortable.
Right. This is going to open that conversation. And listen, it's a very important conversation, right? Salespeople are out there selling every single day, and printers are talking to salespeople and buying equipment every single day. How do we delve into what makes that relationship work the best? What does each side have to gain? How does it work together? And how do we overcome those questions? I think is a very vital questions to ask, a very vital idea to explore as an industry. Nobody's doing it, so I think it'll be fun to kind of jump in and see how we can learn from each other on what's happened out there and how the market actually works and how those relationships work, and how much percentage is it important to the technology versus how important is the salesperson, and how does that work? So this is going to be a killer topic to explore.
It's everything. I mean, I remember when I went out and bought a $5 million press.
Yeah.
When I was signing the contract, my hand was shaking.
Yeah.
Right. That was a life deal. That was a big deal.
Yeah.
Right. But for small companies, signing $150,000 contract for a lease is a big deal. The other thing and then we don't want to get too much into it right now, but the other thing that always sat with me as a printer, and it's big, right? What's big is my relationships with my vendors have to be great, because when there's a situation with the machine, I need the vendor there, period. Because at the end of the day, I have to make those payments every month, no matter what goes on the machine or not. That machine has to be running. I need the vendors to really understand that, because my vendors, everyone in the company gets paid every week, no matter what, right? My place, the people get paid, but I'm the guy on the hook dishing it out, whether the work's coming in or not. So it's always was important for me to understand what downtime really meant. And every though the manufacturer says they understand, my bill keeps rising from not billing, my cost. So that's just a big one for me, because we're on the hook. But I'm really looking forward to speaking to the manufacturers, hearing from your side, what they think, print companies and owners should be doing. And I want to hear from the printer. And I've sat in peer groups for 30 years with many, many hundreds of printers. So I kind of know what's going on. But the purpose of this podcast is to bring our industry and the sides closer together.
Amen, brother.
Amen, brother.
There is a good conversation to be had. We look forward to launching this podcast together. We look forward to the conversations that we're going to be having. We look forward to learning a lot and teaching a lot and sharing a lot, because, you have how many years of experience as a printer buying equipment?
Well, I used to have an afro when I started, and the music was different than it was today.
Okay, so since that sounds like a long time.
No, it was like they're way back in the early 90s.
Or early 90s, okay. And I started in early 2000s selling equipment. And so I think we have a lot of things that we can share, a lot of things that we can uncover, a lot of taboo subjects that people don't like to talk about, that I think will be important for us to put and lay bare.
There will be nothing that's not discussable.
Sure.
And at the end of the day, we are here not to disrespect anyone, not to shoot anyone down, but to really make it better for everyone. Because the truth is, so from the print perspective, I think that we, the printer, we killed our own industry, right? And I think now we have the opportunity to take it back, because there's a little bit of shrinkage as embellishments become really big. There's great opportunities for margin and value. But I want to get on my side, I want to get every printer understanding that it's not a race to the bottom line.
Right.
There.
Well, you have to understand, I think the suits and the printers are both responsible for killing the market, because a big part of it has to do with cost per page. And that's one of those conversations that we have to have. So every year, equipment gets faster. the click charges go lower and lower, the cost per page goes lower, because that's what the printers are saying. I want lower cost per page so I can lower my price and beat my competition on price, which is not the right way, in my opinion, but it's the way that the world works. And that's something that obviously manufacturers have to get smarter on how they are building the technology to make it more efficient, to save costs, and pass those cost savings to printers who, unfortunately, in many cases, instead of putting that in their pocket, are just passing that down to the brands.
Like I said, we are responsible.
Both.
Well, at the pricing side, because if I got a deal from my vendor, I keep it for me.
Yeah,
printers can't survive making 2% at the end of the year. It's ridiculous.
But that's what they do. It's between 2 to 5%.
I understand. My goal as him
Yeah.
is to beat everyone over the head and get them to change the way they're thinking, because it's not healthy.
You can't. I mean, we can try. We can get on our soapbox.
It's going to be one printer at a time.
It's going to be one printer. We're going to get on our soapbox, and we're going to say, and we're going to talk, and we're going to try to tell them, keep that margin. And I think maybe our message will get across to some. But look, sometimes we have to realize this is the way the world works. And for them to stay in business, they're going to have to be very careful on the jobs that they take on how they sell, really estimate correctly, making sure
that's another thing. Yes,
estimating will be the heart of the future. If you want to make money, knowing how much actually costing you to make that piece compared to how much you're bringing in, and I think there's a lot of different subjects that go to that. But we're going to see, and it's changing so fast, the market. We're seeing how marketing is changing. We're seeing AI now. We're seeing ChatGPT changing how copy is being written. Watch how that's going to start affecting the market as well, from a print standpoint, on how these things will be automated in the future. So, yeah, I can't wait.
Listen, it's everything, right? It's even discussing Adobe and Pantone. I mean, we had a conversation the other day.
Great conversation.
Buy a license for Pantone? Did they not? What are the manufacturers doing with the color? Everybody wants to refer to old Pantone numbers. Designers are flipping out because they don't have the same guide anymore that they had. Anyways, there's a million things that are going to come and go. We also don't want to go too long on this one, like end it now.
Right.
But the other thing that's most important on this podcast is you all get two of the most passionate people in this industry.
That's true.
Okay. One on the print side, and one on the manufacturer side. So, and you get young and old. Not that we're old, but you're younger and I'm a tough.
Not that I'm young.
Yeah, exactly. So we really, it's anybody out there that's in the industry. If you're a bindery person, if you're a shipper, if you're an owner, if you're a vendor, if you're a supplier, well, vendor, supplier, same thing.
Yeah.
Truck driver, whatever it is that you do in the industry, we want to hear from you.
Sure.
So when we post this, we'll post a link or an email address or something, right, Kevin? You'll do that.
We will. I'll take care of that for you.
And reach out to us. And for me, I'll stop talking and just say that, wow, thank you if you made it this far and you listened. And we're really, really looking forward to blowing this thing up in the industry.
Thank you very much. Don't forget to subscribe. There's going to be a lot of good stuff coming to this channel. Talk to you guys soon.
Peace out.